Be very welcome, Walter. Today we have a very special guest in here in the house in As Above So Below podcast. We've been, trying to make this happen for a long time, so I was really anxious to make this happen. Today we're going to talk about Norbert Losche and the Cosmic Tarot and so many other things that you want to share with us, Walter. You are I don't know, a promoter, the caretaker of his work. Perhaps you can enlighten me. How did you first and foremost enter Norbert's life, or he entered your life in first place?
Uh, yeah, well, it was back in 1976 when we first met, and we met through a lady he
Hmm.
was engaged with and I was interested in. So we got to know each other, and
Okay.
he offered me, in the end, he offered me his friendship,
Okay.
and so that is a relationship started, and then I was in the States, and when I came back in 1978. I moved into his house where he was living with three other people, uh, and I lived 4 months together with him, so I got to know him a little bit better personally.
Okay.
And then we, I went my way, and he found a wife. He raised a family. He moved to Bavaria. And then, after a few years, in 1981, I think, he came back to Aachen. And in 1982, I started to work as his agent, so to say. First making exhibitions, and then, since the exhibitions were doing so great, we got the idea of licensing. We saw, hey,
Okay.
wait a
Okay.
minute. I mean, this kind of art he's doing is you can find it on LP covers, you can find it on book
Hmm.
covers.
Hmm.
So I just gave it a try, gave it a shot, and went to the Frankfurt Book Fair and licensed one of his images for a book cover. And from there, the thing started. So we started to license more. And see, we were both Mercurians. He was a Virgo, I'm a Gemini. So
Oh,
we
lots
tossed
of air in here.
yeah, so we tossed ideas, and you asked me how it came, or I
Hmm.
don't know if it was his idea or my idea, but it just emerged.
You
Yeah,
connected.
uh,
Yeah.
the, the idea emerged, and then I went in 1986. I think 1986. I went to the Nuremberg Toy Fair, and there was this company, this Bavarian company, FX Schmidt, which was the biggest producer of playing cards in Germany.
In Germany back
They
there
would,
then. Okay.
and they would distribute all the decks of US games. Yeah, but they didn't have one of their own. So approached the owner and asked him, "What do you think of the idea of having your own deck?" And he said, "Well, that's a good idea." And I said,
And
"Well,
he was familiar with tarot decks or with the concept. We're going to talk
I,
about it a little bit ahead, but was he familiar with that, or was something that he had?
he was knowing the concept,
Mhm.
uh, but I
It was
just
a long
went.
road. It was a
He,
lot.
I mean,
How many years did it took to finish this deck,
well,
the
I got a
cosmic?
contract, and I got advance payments, so they would finance 6 months, and he did it within 7 months. Yeah, so
Okay.
he made every 2 to 3 days he finished a card,
Okay.
and
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah, I mean, this is that's the way he used to work. I mean, he
Really
was.
focused.
Yeah, he was very, I mean, he asked me, he was very powerful, he
Hmm.
was compassionate,
Yeah,
and it
that's
was,
what I was going to ask you next. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, and he was very gifted. I mean,
Hmm.
and back then when we were living together, he was always making his art. he was in one way a hermit. Yeah, this is one of his favorite cards. You asked me about
Virgo.
uh,
Virgo it is.
yeah, yeah. So it's there are three, one which were important for him. First, him himself, the
Mhm.
hermit.
The hermit, yes.
Uh, then the world, which was his his wife, yeah,
Oh,
and the sun, which was his son, yeah.
really? They are
The five,
portraits. They are really they were portraits of each one of each person.
yeah. If you
They
look at
did
the
correspond to any. Sorry to interrupt. Did they correspond in any way? So the world is Saturn. Was his wife a Capricorn, or she had was Saturn the ruler, or was a
no, no,
representation?
look at the figure of the world,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. You see a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
It was a belly dancer.
It was a belly dancer. Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
mean she was German, but you see the
Beautiful.
movement.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you
yes.
see the movement of the world, and it's taken from a picture of her dancing.
Is it temperance as well a
No,
representation?
no,
No,
the
or
world,
different? No, no, not at all.
the
But
world.
it's just only the worlds. So we have the sun.
It's
Okay,
the sun.
is
This
the
was
sun.
taken from a
Okay,
picture of the sun. That's what how he looked back then.
okay, amazing. This is just beautiful um
Yeah.
to
So
know I'm just searching for the world. So literally searching for the world. So we have the hermit. It's just beautiful.
we'll,
You
that's
can
what
tell
people
I'm
do.
enthusiastic,
We-
very enthusiastic about this. Okay, amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you know what was her sun sign? Was like a fixed modality, just like Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius in this card, or something else? You don't know her sun sign?
I know
You
she
know,
was
in
a Taurus.
a Taurus, so it's a fixed. It's encapsulated in here too, so it's
But
beautiful.
it's I mean for him I think the world is a dance.
Is a
Yeah,
dance.
and to take
Yeah,
a dancer as a symbol for the world, yeah, always moving. This is,
always
I think,
changing. Yeah.
ever changing. This
Mhm.
is what on his mind, And I mean, and his son. I mean, he loved his son. I mean, it's when you get a child, it's like a son. It's like a son that comes into your life.
Exactly. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I'm getting a little bit emotional with this because it's just like a sequence and we have the light and we have the sun in here. So it's just
yeah,
beautiful. Thank you for adding this information. I'm going to carry with me as long as I live, actually. So it is because, I perhaps there are so many stories to this deck. Actually, I was confronted right here, right now, with one of the most difficult ones. I've known people during my lifetime that sold this deck because this was, and they were experimented tarot readers, but they were so, this was too much for them. There are certain cards, the 10 of wands, this 10 of the swords, the 4 of swords, the 5 of swords. It's too much for them. I really like visceral images, so that's why I really love this deck so much. It's just amazing. So is there anything that you wanted to add, because I've interrupted you literally? Sorry, Walter, once again. I have my
yeah.
Gemini rising.
She like the ten of swords.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Norbert wasn't afraid of the dark.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you look on his other artistic work, on
Mm-hmm.
his paintings, you find a lot of um,
This is just
I
amazing.
mean,
This is just
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Saturn is
See,
over it. Yeah, beautiful.
yeah, and see if you are familiar. I mean, he really admired Hieronymus Bosch.
Yeah.
And so you have this triptychon of Hieronymus Bosch with the heaven and the world and the hell.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all one, yeah. So he wasn't afraid to show the darkness as well.
Exactly.
So and because it belongs to life. and what we make out of it is important. Um, yeah, and you asked me about how the color came into his life or into his paintings. I think
Yeah,
with his, let's say, personal or spiritual development, and also by meeting his wife and raising a family, so
family,
then your life starts to unfold in a new
color.
way. Yeah, you get new colors in the and so there it becomes um, yeah, it comes out of this uh, yeah, black and white, seeing the life, seeing it black and white. You just open
Expand.
up to the colors, yeah, and
Exactly,
it's
to expand. Okay. So
and
that was the third question. Thank you so much. You're literally ahead of me. Bravo. So the fourth question that I was going to ask you, this is something that I read. I don't know if it's true or not, but he got into a community. Was that community that you were talking about with Osho? Could you tell us more about, these experiences or what he experimented? If it was the same community that you were mentioning before?
no,
Um,
no, no, no,
no,
no.
it
This
was
was
another one. Okay.
when I
Okay.
was living with him. This was just on a farm in the countryside, so this
Okay.
was
Okay.
private thing. No, later on he got in touch with the Osho movement. He
Mm-hmm.
never went to Pune, but
Really?
he
Okay.
then he didn't go to Pune. He didn't go to India, but he
Okay.
went to Oregon. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
there
Okay.
was this they built this big farm or whatever this meeting place there in Oregon, and the sannyasins they went there. Yeah, if you read about Osho, it's in
Mm-hmm.
his history. First, he had an ashram in Pune, and people went there, and then
Mm-hmm.
he went to the States, to Oregon, and then the whole thing collapsed.
Collapse.
Uh,
Exactly. Yeah.
and But Norbert would leave before
Mm-hmm.
uh, because he didn't like it in Oregon. For him, there was I think for him there was too much structure already.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so there was too much structure, and he didn't like this. Yeah, he didn't like any structure. He didn't like any boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
all his life. So uh, he would leave it, and he was complete. No regret or something, because
Okay.
he didn't have. I would say he didn't have time for regret.
For regret, yes, so many things to, with to create.
To
So
Yeah.
I'm interested in that that you previously mentioned, because I feel that a Virgo, as a Virgo himself, he perhaps already had too much. He was embodied in his own structure, actually, because mutable Earth, but you have a specific structure. Did that had something to do with rituals or the hierarchy or the specific way of living in that particular place, or was something else? He was not interested in being a part of in that community in specific, or it was just something else.
I think he didn't have problems with communities,
Mm-hmm.
because later he became a Buddhist, and he
Exactly.
spent as long as he had the feel that he had his freedom.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, that was not
this was
restricted. Okay, restricted
that
with.
wasn't the case anymore. I think there was. I mean, he
You
was
don't.
there, and he didn't like it. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, he
Okay.
didn't like what he saw, what he
We
experienced.
saw. Okay, okay, okay. We don't want to,
I'm I'm not. I don't have more information about that. The
okay,
other
okay.
rest
So we can only
would be
speculate. So
yeah, yeah,
moving
yeah,
over. Okay.
yeah.
So,
Um,
so you were telling me that he received an invitation to illustrate, and he ended in 7 months. Is that correct? And these were his favorite cards. Um, and he evolved, from, black and white to color, and then from detail to abstract expressionism. That's what I found most interesting. Is so many is a different case, okay, and if every person has their own, path and involving in creating. And I find it so amazing, particularly not only the evolution that he made from black and white to color, to being more abstract and dedicated to, geometry and color in abstracts. And after that, he even got into technology. So I feel that is how this occurred. Was this a consequence of his spiritual evolution? Can you tell us, elaborate
Yeah.
more
I
about
mean,
this?
his development as an artist is he was self-taught, yeah,
Mm-hmm. That is
and
amazing. The first one.
and he would always look to for the next frontier,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the next thing to break through, yeah. Then for me is he what happened to art over the centuries.
Mm-hmm.
He did it for himself,
Mm-hmm.
So from the form, he got into the abstract world.
Mm-hmm.
He started to copy Kandinsky
Mm-hmm.
and Klee and these painters. And even further, he went into expressionism and abstract expressionism.
Mm-hmm.
And this requires an inner development because
Exactly.
in order to create art, he had to this kind of art. He had to change
Exactly.
himself, become somebody else. So, and in order to explore and to expand, I mean, he would make when I met him, he would make very detailed, very small uh, miniatures. I mean, the
Really.
things were miniatures were what he was doing mainly. He would be able to paint a whole landscape on a pillbox.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. And then, but he to get into the to the open and to into the formless required some work, and he did this as a way of his personal path, as a he developed himself. Yeah. And then it was in the 80s when I came into his workshop or his atelier and saw him doing an abstract painting where he would just put the wall with a, how do you say, spatel with with an instrument on the
A
canvas
spatula or
or
something. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Mhm.
And here you can see this is one of all of this period. Yeah.
That is a Losches. Oh my God, amazing. I was going
Yeah.
to ask you that later, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, this is
Amazing.
because I like that very much, so I bought it from him. Um,
Beautiful.
and okay, no, it's not
It was a
sharp.
little bit blurred, but don't worry. When you pointed, it was focused, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so yeah, and so this was part of his development, and then I mean he did all kinds of things, a lot of commissioned
Mhm.
artwork because I was having the agency, and so he was partly doing free work and a lot of commissioned artwork,
So he was
and
living, during all his life, he lived through arts and in
yeah,
doing art. It's amazing. It's a blessing. Yeah.
yeah,
He didn't have
yeah.
any other professional occupation that you know of, since he was a self-taught artist. What was, do you know his curricula or what he, or this was the thing from the start? So
I found something that might be
really,
interesting in this
okay, okay, I'm listening.
about what he went also into sacred geometry,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I found this little writing here, an apprenticeship as a technical draftsman uh, at a company that mined hard coal underground laid the foundation for his later exploration of sacred geometry and the view that God created the universe according to a geometric plan. As an artist
Mm-hmm.
and a spiritual seeker, he created works that strictly adhere to geometric principles and penetrate them, while at the same time striving to transcend their boundaries in a playful and graceful manner. So even when he would do mandalas, yeah, there
Exactly.
was a period where he would open up the form of the mandala and to
Mm-hmm.
make it to a semi abstract painting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. So it's testing the limits. That's
he was
always
always,
testing the limits. Amazing.
yeah,
Okay.
always testing the limits.
Okay.
And so as an artist, um, and he came to Buddhism in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was preparing the interview, I found this what he wrote about it, and he met um he met Sogyal Rinpoche.
Okay.
Uh, that is a someone who would he wrote the Sogyal Rinpoche. He is famous. He wrote the book, the Tibetan Book of Living
Mm-hmm.
and Dying.
Mm-hmm.
So in the south of France, Norbert met him in 1996, and there he turned to Buddhism.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And
That's quite interesting. 96, are you telling me 96? Okay.
1996,
96.
he met this Tibetan monk. I mean, this
You
Tibetan
went to a
spiritual master.
retreat or you just met him by chance?
No, no,
When I went,
it
you went.
was uh, a meditation center
Mhm.
in the south of France in the Pyrenees,
Okay.
and there
Interesting.
he and that he got the inspiration.
Mhm.
Uh, so he approached the Buddhist imagery and began painting Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
Mhm. Exactly.
And
Very
it
true.
was that the and later on he met another teacher,
Mhm.
and this teacher asked him to make a painting for his meditation center in India. So
Beautiful.
he did that. So he over I would say a whole decade he had three periods where he painted Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and he was able, as a Westerner,
Mhm.
to paint them on the level that the Tibetan teachers would be satisfied with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with detachment, with certain perhaps a certain with an approach. It's not attachment that I wanted to say. It's certain kind of distance and that provides you, being completely. It's what I'm losing my words. Sorry, but
So
being.
if you
Mhm,
paint these
mhm.
Tibetan tankas, these Buddhas,
It's
they
kind
have
of
a structure, and you have to adapt to the structure.
mhm,
And and he was able to. And this is special for a Westerner to
mhm,
do. Yeah,
mhm.
it's
So you're
it
talking about.
requires something.
Okay, so you're talking about adaptation and not, the specific and psychological, what's
No,
the,
no, I'm talking about how he came to paint Buddhas.
okay, okay, okay. So
And
96. So
yeah,
it comes from Hinduism into Buddhism, and this is quite as like the journey of someone who's searching in every part they can for an evolution or transcendence. It's just
yeah.
amazing because it's so much in so little time. What my question here is the latest, you know, from what I've read from 2005 until 2007, went on studying the Kabbalah. So it's a lot of information, and in what way that influenced his creations, and also he carried on painting mandalas. I don't know if that was afterwards, or he kept on exploring different kinds of mediums during this time, because it's so much. It's like a universe that it's consuming itself. It is the image that I have of Norbert, and I never met him. And that it's like even a card. It has so much detail. I look into the mandala if it's more abstract, or carry itself a specific structure. I see the same in here. It's like having, you know, a perfect framing, everything in its right place. And I feel that he wanted to transcend everything and, you know, explore every a bit of, you know, this every bit of, you know, spirituality and medium and perspective there is in the world. So what can you tell us about the person that wanted to, you know, perhaps not embody, but being aware of different a different position or different take on spirituality, because it is so much information. Did he wrote it about this specific processes, or this creative process throughout the time? Did he have, you're saying that you're reading a diary or something that he wrote, he kept diaries about this journey
Yeah,
since
yeah.
the
He
80s,
kept like
90s? Yeah. Is
he
there,
kept.
my question is that they're going to, are they private, are going to some, they be published, or you presenting in tribe? Because there, I believe that he created so many things that we haven't seen yet. Am I correct? And how you're dealing with that in the future?
Good question. Uh, to be honest, I do not know. So there is so much, as you said, and there's so much to be worth seen that I would like to present, but you have to have people who are interested.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you have to make an exhibition. You have maybe to create a book. You can make I mean, I started to do a website, but
Mhm.
there's very much to see and to explore. I mean, he went, as you said, he went into the Kabbalah. He could tell you about the relationships between Kabbalah, the tree of life, and the Hebrew alphabet, you know, and
We
he
have
went into that.
so much, yeah, there's so
And
much to do. Yeah.
there's also he prepared a deck with that showed the 22 Hebrew uh, uh, letters
Hmm.
and together with numbers. Has never been published. It's I have some
Oh
stuff
my
in my
God.
files which are very exciting, and I'm happy because
That is a
here
work of a lifetime for you, Walter. I believe so. If you, what is, oh, oh my God. Is that what I
this
think
is
it is? It's a
this
little
is
bit,
it's a book with a card deck, and it shows Buddhist imagery,
it's
and
beautiful.
it's
When
also
was that published? Sorry.
2005.
2005. Okay. Is it
It's
still,
not
no,
in print.
sold out?
You can, yeah, you can get it. How do you say, in used?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
On the net, on
I
the
can
web.
send you a link if later on. I
Okay.
can send you
Okay.
a link.
Thank you. Thank you. That is just amazing. But I feel that you have, I don't know if you feel that is a mission, that making, you know, Norbert's work known, because it is so much, it is so much to digest, and of course, because it's not your work, your creative work, do you feel that you have a special, and a heavy responsibility to transmit his thoughts, or, curating his work? It is perhaps
Yeah, I mean,
complex and exhilarating at the same time. Yeah,
well, I have to have partners, and
of course, of
so
course.
and well, I'm working on it, and this interview is part of it. I'm
Mhm.
very grateful
Thank
to
you.
that you are interested and give a platform that, because one of Norbert's intention was also to bring structure and understanding in the world, and that is how he sees his tarot as well. Yeah, it's a means for him to yeah, deliver some wisdom to some advice
Mhm.
through the cards.
Through the
And
cards.
see, so he really, that was one of his intentions. And yeah, and there are there's a lot of things are possible. And I mean, and I know that there is an interest in the deck. I mean, just by the plain
It's just an
sales figures of the deck since 1988, 250,000 of the deck has been sold. Yeah, so there is an interest in the world
Yep,
regarding this deck. Yeah, so
exactly.
and and now I mean, even that you approach me is a sign that it resonates in the world.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah,
I read with I do readings, of course, with, more approachable sometimes tarot decks, like Rider-Waite, or I don't know, the Hermetic tarot, but it's also a little bit, tough on the eyes because it's black and white. But this is just amazing. I feel that it connects with me. There are some decks that do connect with you more rather than others. This has connected with me right away. And this is perhaps one of my favorite cards, but because, rarely we have a 10 of Wands with someone drawing Saturn over it. And I've done so many readings, and we have some hard and tough, it's not hard, it's like tough Saturn transits, and this has been just like really, really amazing to come up with. What I'm going to ask you, I have like 2 or 3 questions to make you the final questions, actually. Um, well, the first one is, and correct me if I'm wrong, on his later years, he used digital medium as to create his art. How did he use it? It was like used iPad to draw. Was something completely different. What was
no,
always was always analogical. Sorry.
so he got a PC,
Mm-hmm.
he got Photoshop,
Okay.
and since he was self-taught, he taught himself
Oh,
to
geez.
use Photoshop. And I mean, the funny story about him, I mean, if he used to get impatient,
Mm-hmm.
and he started sometimes he got really mad, and he screamed, yeah, and then he went to his neighbors and he said, if you hear me screaming, this is okay, because I'm just learning how to use Photoshop.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, that's the same relationship that I have with Photoshop, actually, because I don't use anything. I just quit. I have quit like long time ago. It's so frustrating. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to prepare certain things than use Photoshop, but I understand. So what did he, is any kind of a technology that was into, or an app, or something else? Was
No, it was
nothing else, nothing else. And
just
he
just
wasn't
full.
fond of social media either. Nothing that projected his art, nothing.
No, no, no,
Okay,
no.
okay.
That was because I wanted that his work first. that it was kept. You
Mm-hmm.
know, all these digital images,
Exactly.
I thought that they were great and the world should see them. So I created a page, a Facebook page for his art,
Mm-hmm.
and then also a web page because I wanted the world that the world could see what he was doing,
Doing
and
exactly.
also the Cosmic Tarot page.
How did you
That
feel about that? Was it okay with him, just like you
oh
said?
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
he
that's
does
what I said in the
in
beginning.
the
He
beginning,
would
is it?
love he would love this interview because that is down his alley. I mean, he wanted that his world would reach people.
Mm-hmm.
He, not so much that he would reach people, but
Okay, his
his
work.
art, yeah,
Okay,
his work, yeah. He
okay.
cared about his work more than he cared about himself. You know what I mean, you
And
know?
perhaps he didn't want to lose his time to that he had to create to make all this, this interface, this kind of interaction to talk about his work. It's
No,
like was this
there wasn't for him. There wasn't not enough juice, no, not enough joy. You know, he was
right.
really, you know, he would he would get most of his inspiration and his energy from creating art.
Art,
And he
exactly.
told me, I'm doing this also because it gives me the most intense pleasure and the feeling of being alive and more than anything else. That's why I do the art, you know. That's what was very clear. So 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 to say, everybody was in competition with his art. I mean, he would lose interest because he knew that he could spend his time creating art, which would have give him more pleasure or more fulfillment
Mhm.
than playing some social games. He wasn't
No, it
so
wasn't. Yeah, was interested in that at all. I understand. I understand.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
there
you today
a
nowadays
hermit.
people or we play the game or we're completely, yeah, we don't, because the agents, we become the the only agents that to sell our, our arts, actually, with, with social media and internet. It's happening. It can give you a lot of freedom, but it's also a kind of prison itself, because you have to be, almost like a seller, like, look at me. And I understand I wasn't interested in that at all.
No,
And actually, when we have exhibitions of our work, sometimes it's interesting, and sometimes like a vanity fair, actually, because we are managing a lot of egos, and people are, talking. Sometimes they enjoy more in listening to themselves than anything else, but that's another story. So,
I
Walter.
know what you're talking about. I organized exhibition myself, so I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I mean
So you
this
appear and you
that's how,
disappear. That's
so
it.
that's how we started. Yeah, I mean this
Mhm.
is how we started in the beginning, where making exhibition and I got I learned about the exhibition business as well,
Mhm.
and it wasn't his world, not at all,
Yeah.
and it wasn't so much my world either. And I mean, and then we started the licensing thing, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, he has collectors, and he always had collectors, people who would appreciate his art, uh, but they were rather rare, and
Mhm.
he wasn't the person for the public, you know. He
Okay.
was rather shy, and
So that's what I was going to ask you, because he has one of the most recognizable decks ever, the Cosmic Tarot. Even if people don't know who Norbert Losche, that's it, like
yeah,
Losche is. Um, they know his tarot deck. So do you know, or do you have you ever known a story about someone who has, approached him, or thanking him for this amazing work or something like that? Because this is just this, perhaps they didn't recognize the person, but they recognize the work. Did he know that this was, this has this magnitude? He should have known, right? this has this kind of impact, because I don't know if it was, if it is the thing that has the of it is most recognizable by of his work, if there's another or other works that are more recognizable than this, because this is everywhere.
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, the response of the world,
Mm-hmm.
the personal response was kind of a surprise.
Mm,
I mean, after I mean, we had some sales figures, what we didn't know uh, of the impact.
mm-hmm.
Just when I started to create the web page or the Facebook pages, I I got into YouTube and I
Mm-hmm.
searched him on YouTube, and I was amazed how many people were using his deck.
Exactly.
Uh, and I told him, and he liked that. But you have to go into the web and find it out for
Find it.
yourself.
Yeah.
So there were not people banging on his door and saying, "Hey, this is a great deck," uh, and especially the most of the people were not even in Germany.
Yeah.
Was the other thing. So that within, I mean, looking at the sales figures, yeah, much more decks were sold overseas or in
Mm-hmm.
Spain or in France than in Germany.
And
So
Germany, yeah.
just so this is so he would hit a note, a keynote in people which were not necessarily German, but rather from another country, and this was amazing to see as well. And so, but yeah, I mean, he got some recognition, sure, sure, but not so much as it really was. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean,
You feel that because it doesn't seem what since you started talking about him, doesn't seem it was someone that was worried about being recognized or having fame. It's just simply wanted to have his work done because it was a necessity for his own well-being. So, but obviously, because he lived from art, he wanted to be recognized in a certain way that make him possible to live through art. But do you think that he wanted to be more appreciated or having different opportunities that he had in life, or wasn't anything like that, in your opinion, Walter?
also, did he? I think he was satisfied
Satisfied? Okay,
with the
okay,
way he was living. I mean, he was mainly interested in creating
I'm
and
creating.
exploring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, he would do a lot of studies. Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it, like the Kabbalah and the Hebrew alphabet and the numerology and all these things, which shows up partly in the cards, but in his later works as well, and to go into Buddhism and practice and meditate. I mean, so he was shown, I mean, I would say uh, he was not a very social person. I mean,
mm-hmm.
he was an artist, like the hermit. Yeah,
The hermit,
I mean,
exactly. That's the
it was
hermit.
his
That's it.
personal,
That's it.
yeah, his personal card, and so when you have, it means something, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So so he would reach places other people wouldn't go get to because they wouldn't invest so much time and effort.
I'm doing so.
And on the other hand, you don't have so many other things. You don't have so much social life. I mean, you got to choose. I mean, this
Yeah,
is
you have to.
often
Yeah,
with artists.
that's about
Often with,
being an adult. It's choosing what you want to invest your time in. That
and
that's great
but I would say that he was satisfied with his
with
life, and
that.
he had a great life, and he could live from his art, and he would use the means of commissioned artwork in order to do free art. I mean, what he wanted, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, this was important for him as well, and so and he managed it, and. So I would say great.
Great, exactly. Okay, so a very last question for you, Walter, is what you wanted to say about Norbert that hasn't been said yet during this conversation? Is there anything that you wanted to add? It doesn't have to be connected to tarot. I don't know if he was a tarot reader himself or he leaned on tarot for personal insight or something like that. But if
He,
you wanted to add anything that it's
yeah,
useful,
yeah. First of all, yeah, he used the tarot sometimes
really? Okay.
for himself and for other people.
Hmm.
But later in life, he really went into numerology, and he
Oh, yeah.
discovered there
It's all
a
connected.
lot there, and also he was combining sacred geometry with numerology, because and this is all based on his apprenticeship as a technical draw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is one thing. Um, One thing I would like to say, and maybe this is a nice uh, way to end the interview, is
Mm-hmm.
uh, what he once wrote about he was always looking for inspiration. And he wrote, there is a myth after the inspiration is compared to a white unicorn.
Really?
This unicorn is very shy and lives hiding in the dark depths of the forest. The artist, looking for inspiration, must be completely innocent. Then the white unicorn will be found and lays his unicorn in the lap of the searching artist.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. When did it, may I ask you when in what year it was when you wrote that? Because it's just beautiful.
I would
You don't have
look
it.
up the poem where when I was preparing the interview,
Okay. Oh,
I came
thank you.
across.
But thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. So I hope you have the time in your hands and the passion and the stamina to make more of his art known. I don't know if you're an artist yourself, but this is like the work of a lifetime to make this his work known. And thank you for sharing and making a website. So if it wasn't that, I haven't known this whole information as well. And that's it. Thank you so much, Walter. Really, I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for the opportunity to have this interview with you, and I really appreciate the effort and the love you put into it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm the one who has to thank. Thank you so much. Thank you.